Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today I'm going to attempt to quell some of your fears about the controls using this thing in Star Fox Zero. Wish me luck. Basically, if you don't know, a lot of people have been worried about the controls in Star Fox Zero because it uses two screens, ideally the gamepad and the main screen, because those are the only two screens you can use, and motion control, so moving around like that, not dissimilar to Splatoon. Splatoon's going to come up quite a lot in this discussion, actually, so brace yourself. I've been playing it for a while now, and admittedly, it did not happen immediately. I didn't just pick the controls up like that and just go, yeah, no, easy peasy, whatever. It did take a while, to be honest, maybe about... Well, honestly, I'd say maybe about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour to really feel like I actually had control of the R-Wing. Well, no, that's probably putting it a little bit too harshly. I did feel I had control of the R-Wing, but to really feel like I had proper understanding of what I was doing with the controller and really seeing that playing out on both screens. The biggest hurdle, I think, for many people, including myself, was I believed you had to try and focus on two screens at once, which, on the 3DS and things like that, isn't too difficult because they're right next to each other, but the gamepad's down here, and the main screen's, well, generally somewhere else, usually at the other end of the room, and you're having to try and look up and down, and yes, that was a big issue to begin with. However, there is light at the end of the tunnel, yes indeedly doodly. After a while, I actually found myself not even really looking at the gamepad that much, unless I really needed to do some precision aiming, or it was in target mode where the screen basically follows, not behind the R-Wing, but the target that you're focused on. You can't get away with not looking at the gamepad, it's as simple as that. And you can't really get away with not looking at the screen itself. It's kind of like if you drive, if you don't drive, sorry, this is going to be completely useless for you, but basically when you drive, obviously you look out the you look out the windscreen and you've got the rear view mirror and you've got the side mirrors and everything. You have to move your head a lot to keep track of everything that's going on. And it's pretty much the same thing here. As you're ducking, you're diving, you're wheeling, you're dealing, you do need to look at the gamepad when you need to do some precision aiming, because the cursor on the screen does not actually match up exactly with the cursor that you get on the gamepad. That is something that you do need to take into consideration, because locking on does become more difficult if you're not looking at the gamepad screen, because basically the R-Wing and then the cursors, it's sort of as though the cursor is in front of the R-Wing actually in the 3D space. It doesn't work as though the cursor lines up and you're going to lock onto that person. However, on the gamepad, that is how it works, so don't worry. I think it's something to do with perspective or something, I'm not really sure. You can also partially turn off motion controls. You cannot turn them off entirely because reasons. Yes, if you so desire, you can choose to have the motion controls only activate when you actually touch ZR, the right trigger, which is when you're firing. So whether you're tapping or whether you're holding it down for a charge shot, that is the only time the motion controls will become active, which I think some people prefer, but to be honest, I couldn't really get along with it. I genuinely just preferred having the Splatoon-style motion controls going woo 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 woo. If you are completely adverse to motion controls, you're going to have to either learn to get over it or find another game. Unfortunately, well, no, actually, there is a third option. You can play co-op. In co-op mode, you take a friend and you take an additional controller, preferably not one like this, because this is an Xbox One controller. I couldn't find my Wii U Pro controller, but it's a visual aid, and you will let them control the R-Wing, or you can control the R-Wing, and that is done purely with physical controls, and you can still shoot. The person doing the shooting will have the gamepad and will have motion controls and will be primarily looking at the gamepad, because obviously they don't have to worry about controlling the R-Wing in the same way. And indeed, the other person who is controlling the R-Wing, it's all physical controls. You're nearly always going to be looking at the screen. There will be in the occasional moment where you may sort of say, I don't know, just look over and have a look at the gamepad screen because reasons, like going into a tight space or something like that. But generally, it's going to be just normal screen. I think the big thing I'm trying to say with this video is don't be put off by the controls. They are not inherently bad, they are just different. You will need some time to get acclimatized to them, but once you do, it'll be second nature. You will have to press Y to recalibrate every so often, just like Splatoon, but get over it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you recalibrate that subscribe button? It's a rattly thing, isn't it? And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. The ZR, the right trigger, if you like. I couldn't find my Wii U Pro controller anyway. It's just visual aid. Anyway,